How to stop procrastinating by using the 2-minute rule. Tala Tarap is widely regarded as one of the greatest dancer and choreographer of the modern era. In 1992, she was awarded a MacArthur Fellowship, often referred as the Genius Grant, and she has spent the bulk of her career touring the globe to perform her original work. She also credits much of her success to simply daily habits. I begin each day of my life with a ritual, she writes. I wake up at 5:30 a.m., put on my workout clothes, my leg warmers, my sweat shirt, and my hat. I walk outside my Manhattan home, hail a taxi, and tell the driver to take me to the Pumping Iron Gym at 91st Street and 1st Avenue, where I work out for 2 hours. The ritual is not the stretching and weight training I put my body through each morning at the gym. The ritual is the cap. The moment I tell the driver where to go, I have completed the ritual. It's simple act, but doing it the same way each morning, habitualize it, make it repeatable, easy to do. It reduces the chance that I would skip it or do it differently. It is one more item in my arsenal of routines and one less thing to think about. Healing a cap each morning may be a tiny action, but it is a splendid example of the third law of behavior change. Researchers estimate that 40 to 50% of our actions on any given day are done out of habit. This is already a substantial percentage, but the true influence of your habit is even greater than these numbers suggest. Habits are automatic choices that influence the conscious decisions that follow. Yes, a habit can be completed in just a few seconds, but it can also shape the action that you take for minutes or hours afterwards. Habits are like the entrance ramp to a highway. They lead you down a path, and before you know it, you are speeding towards the next behavior. It seems to be easier to continue what you are already doing than to start doing something different. You sit through a bad movie for 2 hours, you keep snacking even when you are already full. You check your phone for just a second, soon you have spent 20 minutes starting at the screen. In this way, the habit you follow without thinking often determine the choices you make when you are thinking. Each evening there is a tiny movement, usually around 5:15 p.m., that shapes the rest of my night. My wife walked in the door from work, and either we change into our workout clothes and head to the gym, or we crash onto the couch or order Indian food and watch The Office. Similar to Tyler Trump hailing the cab, the ritual is changing into my workout clothes. If I change clothes, I know the workout will happen. Everything that followed driving to the gym, deciding which exercise to do, stepping under the bar is easy once I've taken the first step. Every day there are a handful of movement that delivers an outsized impact. I prefer to these little choices as decisive movement. The moment you decide between ordering takeout or cooking dinner, the moment you choose between driving your car or riding your bike, the moment you decide between starting your homework or grabbing the video game controller, these choices are a fork in the road. This is a movement. Good choices, bad choices, good choices, etc. Good day, bad day. Figure 14, the difference between a good day and a bad day is often few productive and healthy choices made at decisive moment. Each one is like a fork in the road, and these choices stack up through the day and can ultimately lead to very different outcomes. Decisive movements set the options available to your future self. For instance, walking into a restaurant is decisive movement because it determines what you will be eating for lunch. Technically, you are in control of what you order, but in a large sense, you can only order an item if it is on the menu. If you walk into a steak holder, you can get a sirloin or a rib eye, but not sushi. Your options are constrained by what available. They are shaped by the first choice. We are limited by where our habits lead us. This is why mastering the decisive movement throughout your day is so important. Each day is made up of many movements, but it is really a few habitual choices that determines the path you take. These little choices stack up, each one setting the trajectory for how you spend the next chunk of time. Habits are the entry point, not the end point. They are the cap, not the gym. The 2 minute rule. Even when you know you should start small, it's easy to start too big. When you dream about making a change, excitement inevitable takes over and you end up trying to do too much too soon. The most effective way I know to counteract this tendency is to use the 2 minute rule, which states when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. You will find that nearly any habit can be scaled down into a 2 minute version. Read before bed each night becomes read one page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Study for class becomes open my notes. Fold the laundry becomes fold one pair of socks. Run 3 miles becomes tie my running shoes. The idea is to make your habit is as easy as possible to start. Anyone can meditate for 1 minute, read one page, or put one item of clothing away. And as we have just discussed, this is a powerful strategy because once you have started doing the right thing, it is much easier to continue doing it. A new habit should not feel like a challenge. The action that follow can be challenging, but the first 2 minutes should be easy. What you want is a gateway habit that naturally leads you down a more productive path. You can usually figure out the gateway habit that will lead to your desired outcomes by mapping out your goals on a scale from very easy to very hard. For instance, running a marathon is very hard, running a 5K is hard, walking 10,000 steps is moderately difficult, walking 10 minutes is easy, and putting on your running shoes is very easy. Your goal might be to run a marathon, but your gateway habit is to put on running shoes. That's how you follow the 2 minute rule. Very easy, easy, moderate, hard, very hard. Put on your running shoes, walk 10 minutes, walk 10,000 steps, run a 5K, run a marathon. Write one sentence, write one paragraph, write 1,000 words, write a 5,000 words article, write a book. Open your notes, study for 10 minutes, study for 3 hours, get straight A's, earn a PhD. People often think it's weird to get hype about reading one page or meditating for 1 minute or making one sales call. But the point is not to do one thing, the point is to master the habit of showing up. The truth is a habit must be established before it can be improved. If you can learn the basic skills of showing up, then you have little hope of mastering the finer details. Instead of trying to engineer a perfect habit from the start, do the easy things on a more consistent basis. You have to standardize before you can optimize. As you master the art of showing up, the first 2 minutes simply becomes a ritual at the beginning of a larger routine. This is not merely a hack to make habit easier, but actually the ideal way to master difficult skills. The more you ritualize the beginning of a process, the more likely it becomes that you can slip into the state of deep focus that is required to do great things. By doing the same warm up before every workout, make You make it easier to get into the state of peak perform by following the same creative ritual. You make it easier to get into the hard work of creating by developing a consistent power down habit. You make it easier to get to bed at a reasonable time each night. You may not be able to automate the whole process, but you can make the first action mindless. Make it easy to start and the rest will follow. The 2 minute rule can seems like a trick to some people. You know that the real goal is to do more than just 2 minutes, so it may feel like you are trying to fool yourself. Nobody is actually aspiring to read one page or do one push up or open their notes. And if you know it's a mental trick, why would you fall for it? If the 2 minute rule feels forced, try this. Do it for 2 minutes and then stop. Go for a run, then you must stop after 2 minutes. Start meditating, but you must stop after 2 minutes. Study Arabic, but you must stop after 2 minutes. It's not a strategy for starting, it's the whole thing. Your habit can only last 120 seconds. One of my readers used this strategy to lose over 100 pounds. In the beginning, he went to the gym each day, but he told himself he wasn't allowed to stay for more than 5 minutes. He want he would go to the gym, exercise for 5 minutes, and leave as soon as his time was up. After a few weeks, he looked around and thought, well, I always coming here anyway. I might as well start staying a little longer. A few years later, the weight was gone. Journaling provides another example. Nearly everyone can benefit from getting their thoughts out of their head and onto paper. But most people give up after a few days or avoid it entirely because journaling feels like a chore. The secret is to always stay below the point where it feels like work. Greg McCoy, a leadership consultant from the United Kingdom, built a daily journaling habit by specifying writing less than he felt like. He always stopped journaling before it seems like a hassle. Ernest Hemingway believed in similar advice. For any kind of writing, the best way is to always stop when you are going good. He said, strategies like this work, strategies like this Strategies like this work for another reason too. They reinforce identity. You make it build if you show up at the gym 5 days in a row, even if just for 2 minutes. You are casting votes for your new identity. You're not worried about getting in shape. You are focused on becoming the type of person who doesn't miss workout. You are taking the smallest action that confirm the type of person you want to be. We rarely think about change this way because everyone is consumed by the end goal. By one push up is better than not exercising. 1 minute of guitar practice is better than none at all. 1 minute of reading is better than never picking up a book. It's better to do less than you hope than to do nothing at all. At some point, once you have established the habit and you are shown up each day, you can combine the 2 minute rule with a technique we call habit shaping to scale your habit back up towards your ultimate goal. Start by mastering the first 2 minutes of the smallest version of the behavior, then advance to an intermediate steps and repeat the process. Focusing on just the first 2 minutes and mastering the stage before moving on to the next level, eventually you will end up with the habit you had originally hoped to build while still keep your focus where it should be on the first 2 minutes of the behavior. Example of habit shaping. Becoming an early riser. Phase 1. Be home at by 10 p.m. every night. Phase 2. Have all devices, TV phones, etc. turn off by 10 p.m. every night. Phase 3, be in bed by 3 p.m., 10 p.m. every night, reading a book, talking with your partner. Phase 4, light off by 10 p.m. every night. Phase 5, wake up at 6 a.m. every day.